Hey guys, what's up? So I'm at my home right now since theaters are shut, and on Amazon Prime, Gulabo Sitabo has just come out, so I'm gonna watch that. Directed by Sujit Sarkar, written by Juhi Chaturvedi, starring Amitabh Bachchan, Ayushmann Khurrana, Vijay Raz, and Brijinder Kala. So yeah, I'm just gonna watch it, and then I'm gonna give my selfie style on the spot review. Peace out.
पहले सबको नमस्ते करिए, सलाम करिए, सत्याग्रह करिए।
Alright, just saw Gulabo Sitabo, directed by Sujit Sarkar, written by Juhi Chaturvedi, starring Amitabh Bachchan, Ayushmann Khurrana, Brijinder Kala, and Vijay Raz. So, the first thing I actually want to do when I do this review on this spot is I actually want to talk about the writing by Juhi Chaturvedi, because this film deals with the subject of property dispute, right? So it involves a lot of legalities and technicalities, so the subject could become very stale, very boring. But what she's managed to do is make the film so quirky and so interesting with the characters that there is not a moment where you get bored. The script moves so smoothly in such an interesting way. Constantly there's something happening, whether it's in terms of the quirky characters or the situations or how everyone wants a piece of the pie. And there's no villain in this sort of a story, because it's the situation that brings out the villain in us. It's the situation that brings out the hero in us. And there's so many quirky, funny moments in this film which really makes you delve into it. Okay, so big thumbs up for the screenplay. There's not a dull moment. There's a constant grip. You know, the flow is very constant from beginning, middle to end. Whenever I talk about the characters or something, it goes, credit is to the writer, okay? Because she's the one that's really brought in that aspect into the film. I mean, it's her film, right? And the actors. Man, the actors. Amitabh Bachchan, Ayushmann Khurrana, they have excelled immensely in this, right? And Amitabh Bachchan, man, he's like another level. You know, in this film in particular, you know, his body language, the way he speaks, you know, his look, you know, hats off to the prosthetics person, right? Because the way he looks, he is the character. You know, you feel for him, and there's a certain level of quirkiness. Once again, credit to Juhi Chaturvedi, but the way he's brought that out in his performance is just so amazing. When it comes to Ayushmann Khurrana, right? First of all, credit to him when it comes to selecting scripts, right? He knows how to choose his scripts. And in this film, you know, the way he brings out that rural flavor in his body language, his accent, and everything is just so grounded and so real, whereas clearly he has done his homework. And just to think, you know, the man who we saw in Vicky Donor, right, and now in this film, in Bala, I mean, he's just so different in all his movies. So hats off to Ayushmann Khurrana. Right, now about the story, right, once again, Juhi Chaturvedi. Okay, the story is such that it deals with property dispute. However, it gets to that few minutes into the film. First, we're just kind of introduced to the overall quirkiness of the film. This film is a comedy. It's a dark comedy, you can say, but it's a comedy nonetheless, grounded in reality, right? So you have a landlord and you have a tenant. So there's this constant back and forth going between them. The landlord being the character that Amitabh Bachchan plays, Mirza, and the tenant being Banki Rastogi, played by Ayushmann Khurrana. Right? They both have their own inner conflicts, their own dilemmas, but the chemistry between them is what makes the film interesting. Right? Both want the property, which is a mansion. Right? So that is the crux of the film. The crux of the film is the property. Right? And both of these characters is what that story revolves around. Right? And that is just, it's just funny. There are moments that are just genuinely funny, you know. Here we have Rastogi, Banke, who has 3 sisters and a mother to take care of. Then we have the character played by Amitabh Bachchan, Mirza, who's this 78-year-old man who's bored, you know, he's on the verge of death himself, yet he's waiting for his wife to basically kick the bucket, which is ironic, it's funny, right? yet it's done in a very interesting way. Right? You have a man who's waiting for his wife to die just so he can take the property all for himself. Okay? So that's interesting, but what these two characters don't understand is the complications of property dispute. You have a lawyer that comes into the mix, which is played by Brijinder Kala. You have an archaeologist that comes into the mix, which is played by Vijay Raz. Both of these characters have their own selfish motives, right? And that is what makes this story even more interesting, because everyone wants a piece of the pie, right? Then, on top of that, there's this unexpected twist, right, which brings us to the past, which is the wife of Amitabh Bachchan. I won't get into that, right, but I just want to say that this film does go in a very unpredictable path, okay, and that brings me to the themes of the film. If I was to think of the themes of the film, I would think of greed, right, a certain level of selfishness when it comes to money and materialistic tendencies, which is the mansion, which is the property that everyone is after. Right? Then, of course, the insignificance of death. When I speak of insignificance of death, I speak about the relationship between Mirza and his wife. He's just waiting for her to die, right? Which is just so ironic and just so bizarre and seems so odd, yet the writing is such and the acting is such that we see nothing wrong in it, right? Then there's past, present, and future. This property represents the past, the present, and the future. So these are the themes of the film when I think of it, right? Now for the direction. Sujit Sirkar, man, whether it's Vicky Donor, whether it's this film, whether it's a lot of the films which he has done, you know, Piku, even Madras Cafe, he's the type of filmmaker that can make any sort of film, and he has showcased his, you know, his diversity, you know, when it comes to filmmaking. He's a very, 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 very talented filmmaker. So the combination of him and Juhi Chaturvedi in this film is something that's very, very, very dynamic. And it works. The way he's brought out that rural vibe, the setting, the very rustic feel. You know, this is something that can only take place in rural India, small town India, this sort of a film, where people don't have the properties, don't have the papers, excuse me, to prove their properties. The cinematography is very grounded, very real. The music, you know, goes with the flow of the film. The editing is very nice. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this film, and I would recommend this film for anyone. I mean, it's on Amazon Prime. Get a, you know, subscription for this film, and you won't regret watching this film. Trust me, it's a very wonderful film, and at this time, obviously, I'm at home, you know, waiting for the movie theaters to just open up. So, yeah, this is Selfie Style on the spot, folks. This is Chirag Shah. Do like, subscribe. I'll be trying to do this more often. Peace out.